Okay, let's just get this over with. Never in my years of gaming have I played a game that could be so good, yet fell so far below the pole that it became one of the worst games that I have ever played. This is PRYZM. This game was released in like the early 2000s, I think 2001, if I'm being honest, I don't really remember. But it was made by the game studio known as DICE. Now, if you guys might think DICE is familiar, I'm sure you do. Now, this studio has made amazing games like the Battlefield series, Mirror's Edge games, Star Wars Battlefront 2, post-launch, of course. But before these games, DICE had kind of an interesting history of definitely weird games under their belt. Shrek, Riding Champion, Legacy of Rosamund Hill. I actually had to read that one off the script there. But one game stood out, probably the most unique out of these games, and that game was PRYZM. Now, if you guys remember, if you ever watched PRYZM, show we made earlier this year, Punch, this dude right here was the one who actually picked this game out for me. We're actually walking through a random used game store, and he actually picked it up and he said, "Alright bro, you have to play this." So there we are. And actually, you can see, this is the game that we are talking about right here. PRYZM Chapter 1, The Dark Unicorn. Now, when I picked this game up, I had no clue what I was honestly going to be getting into, but I'm actually kind of glad, but I'm also kind of annoyed at the same time. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and start PRYZM, take a look here and see what we got. Now, we're gonna start off here, and I just want to say this game's actually good, except for this opening cutscene. I mean, just look at it. Can you guys believe that Jak and Daxter had come out the same year in 2001? Like, look at the cutscenes. Like, why do their mouths move like that? And why does this old man troll thing look like this? Like, let's compare Samos from Jak and Daxter. I mean, look at the polish between Samos and what's his name again? Okay, so now we are out of this kind of loop of this interesting tutorial cutscene, and we actually enter a real gameplay tutorial here. Now, I do have to say, this game is surprisingly reactive. It's very responsive, and it's very intricate with its design and playstyle here. The right stick controls the troll, and the left stick controls the unicorn. It's very interesting, and you know what? It actually plays quite nicely. There's multiple attacks, ranged attacks, aerial attacks, side-to-side attacks. There's so much ways to defend yourself as well. The house just creaked. Was a little weird. With all of this, I would say, it's a pretty solid game, to be honest. Now, it's a solid game with solid movement, and the play features, I believe, make it the most fun. Now, after our journey starts, we are actually thrown into a map that branches off to multiple different locations here. I'm gonna raise my mic up, and I want you guys to hear this. Okay, so I'm brought to this map room, and honestly, I have no clue what am I even supposed to be doing here. So I kind of just clicked on some random place, and I just went to it. And to be honest, I still have no clue what I'm even doing. There's no objective, really. I mean, I feel like I'm just playing to play this game now. It does show a quick overlay of what the map would be, and then we're actually off to fight the fauna and flora that is scattered around the area that we have just entered in. But then again, there's no real objective here. Like, what am I even supposed to be fighting here? Gnomes? Elves? Like, what even is that? I don't even know anymore. At this point, I'm just aimlessly playing the game, which I feel brings the biggest problem that this game holds. Now, we will talk about that in a second after I do play this level here. But after this level, you just go on, and to make matters worse, they all kind of look like the same level. Is it just me? Like, all the levels feel and look exactly the same. Another problem that this game has is I don't really know the story either. Like, what's even happening? What's going on? So there's multiple realms that were plagued with a plague, and now the trolls and the unicorns, they just hate each other for some reason. They're just like heated at each other. But then again, the unicorns are like super proper for some reason, and they speak like the most proper English ever, and then the trolls are like hillbilly-ish type people. And there's just that. Why does him riding on PRYZM's back make her ineligible to fly? That doesn't. What? And to be honest, why is she even going alone to some place? Where are they even going again? They didn't even properly say this in the cutscene that we received before that tutorial. In fact, this game, I don't know what the story is. It just feels like a huge clump of cutscene and gameplay that honestly it makes zero sense to me. This game does not function as a game. It feels like an arcade game where you kind of go in, you play the level, oh, here you defeated a few enemies, here's some tickets, go buy your Tootsie Roll candies because you can only get 50 tickets out of this game in the first place. Now, I just don't know what's happening with this game. Clearly there's a story going on. Clearly it looks interesting. I mean, seriously, hold on. The game, let's see here, even came with a comic book as a manual. And is the comic book upside down? Is it what is it read like? Oh, there we go. See, it came with a comic book. PRYZM, the beginning, a costly piece. Like, what's even going on here? Like, what is that? Like a fairy and like some, what was that? An elf riding a werewolf? Or no, it's a man. Ooh. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, the game is just makes me sad. Because I don't know what's going on, and it has the potential. It has the gameplay feel. Honestly, the gameplay was the only reason I kept playing in the first place. It felt good to play. Everything about it felt good, except this story. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I don't have a reason to keep playing because I'm not in tune. I don't want to stay put. I don't want to be at the edge of my seat because I could care. I've played Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal like 520 something times, and I still get more entertained by that game than I do with this one that I haven't even completed. Now that brings up another point. If a game can't keep me interested to complete it within the next few days, what's the point of the game? The game is fun. The controller scheme is so intricate that it makes me interested to play it more, but the way everything looks, it's just disgusting. And the story just makes no sense to me. It doesn't bound together correctly, which kind of breaks my heart because this game has the potential to be a classic. I would say this game has more of a classic feel than many PS2 games that are even available on the PS2. Now, I have never played this game in my life, but because of the feeling it gives you when you play it, I feel like I've actually played this game thousands of times already, based off that alone. Which sort of brings another issue that occurs when thinking of this game, PRYZM back here. Now this game is just so randomly nostalgic that it actually reminds me of other games that happen to be much better than it. But you know what? Now that I think about it, now that I'm sitting here and talking about this game here, that actually brings up a good point. Even though this game is systematically poo to today's standards, it brings a sense of feeling good, even if it's not the best game on the PS2 system. Now this is important, because that means just because I didn't play this game as a kid, just because I didn't sit here and have the fond memories laid down with this game, doesn't mean other people didn't. I guarantee you that years ago, children that had this game purchased to them, or they purchased themselves with their birthday money or whatever, had loaded thousands of hours into this game. And you know what? They probably still love this game to this day. in my opinion, that makes this game, PRYZM Chapter 1 A Dark Unicorn, a major success. Now, why is PRYZM so mid-par? I would say that compared to some of the games that had came out around the time period. You know, and what could have made this game even better? Now, I'm just going to say this right now. I was going to say that, you know what, I'm waiting for the sequel. Maybe a sequel would tell me a better story, but that's wrong. Well, to be honest, I was going to say I'm waiting for the sequel, but for those of you who don't know, PRYZM Chapter 1 of what was supposed to be, I'm assuming, many chapters that are probably still would have been being produced to this day, is the only game in the game series for the PRYZMs. Someone just crashed their car outside? What the hell is going on? But I'd say at this point, instead of a sequel, the only thing that I'm waiting for is a remaster. Just imagine this game right here with a new coat of paint, better insight to the story, better graphics, and better visuals. That would be absolutely amazing. Now, I know DICE has the capability of making this. Is it probable that they will? Maybe not. But I'm very hopeful for the future because this game's incredible. If it was different. Now, I guess my message would be to just check it out, you know. See what could have been an amazing game. And game series, maybe game franchise. You know, imagine walking in and seeing PRYZM merch at the GameStop nowadays. And let's see, you know what, let's see if we can get this remaster going. I'm not trying to say anything or put anything in stone, but I say that. Why shouldn't there be a remaster? I mean, it's been a blast playing this game, to be honest. Even if there was no real goal at the end, it was still fun to play. And you know what? This has been GameThru, and we'll see you in the next one.